Hey YouTube, Muckluck here, and today I'm actually covering a different game. For those who don't know, my main game, of course, has been Guild Wars 2. I've made over 100, 150 guides for that game, but today I want to talk about a big update coming to the Riftbreaker, the game I played the second most over the last 2 years. For those that don't know, these are all, what you can see on the screen right now, are all full playlists of the Riftbreaker that I have done on stream. Some of them have just, like this one has 250 episodes in it. We do a lot of Riftbreaker. I've got 288 hours in the game. Play it at least one day a week on stream and have an absolute blast playing it. It is a game that I truly believe in. It is a game I qualify as S tier among the 80 to 90 games I've played over the last year. It is very, very good. I've got a whole video I'll link down below called Why Play the Riftbreaker that explains like what it does that many other games do not do if you're interested. However, they released today, the reason I'm making this video, is a 2023 year review in the Riftbreaker. And there's some really, really good stuff in here, and I want to go over it. So, starting off, hello Riftbreakers. 2023 has gone by in the blink of an eye. The Riftbreaker is 2 years old now, but your passion for the game has not disappeared, not in the slightest. You keep us motivated to keep making the game better and better. We have compiled some facts and stats about Exor, Exor Studios is the company that makes the Riftbreaker, and the Riftbreaker to summarize our work. Let's take a look at what we managed to achieve over the course of the past 12 months and talk about our plans in the next year. 2023 review. We've released 4 major updates for the game. The World Expansion 2 update accompanied the release of Into the Dark DLC. Into the Dark DLC was the second DLC for the game, the first one being Metal Terror. It was awesome. They kind of incorporated a Minecraft type mechanic where you could dig underground and open up caverns and bases and stuff like that, and kind of pick your own walls, your own terrain. But then on the flip side, some of the attackers could burrow and tunnel through walls, and if they managed to make a new tunnel to your base, everything else that couldn't tunnel could use that tunnel. So it was like in our RTS where the walls were changing. The new rock digging mechanic allows you to build bases deep underground while facing relentless assaults from the unwelcoming inhabitants of the limestone caves. Building a giant base beneath the surface of the planet is a challenge, but try that while repelling relentless attacks from hordes of aliens. Yes. Summer update. We added 156 new decorative items. I'll be completely honest here. Although I love this game, and we were playing it on stream when this stuff dropped, I have never actually used the decorative stuff. Like, it does take resources to build them, and usually I'm playing this game on, like, enemies have 500% more hit points or more damage, and chat is attacking me at the same time with the Twitch integration. I don't have time to be building trophies of anything. But, if there was one that looked like an Asura with a wizard hat, I'd consider it. Our screenshot contest asked you to put these assets to good use. Here's a great example by Acid Avil. The Halloween update was a seasonal event which had a list of bugs and patch notes, as well as the prologue version of the game to parody with the main release. Yeah, a good time to point out for anyone who might be interested in this game that has never heard of it before this video. If you search Riftbreaker Pro, if I can spell prologue, on Steam, it is free. It is essentially a free trial of the game, and it allows you to play a survival mission, which is one massive level, to see if you would like this game before you buy. Very good try before you buy system, if you want it. Okay, so, and then the Riftbreaker multiplayer closed beta. Not an update strictly speaking, however, we feel that it's an important milestone. We started conducting connectivity tests with players around the world. Our goal is clear: co-op multiplayer. I would absolutely love to do this. This game has such good Twitch integration, where it'll be like, press A to drop a tornado on him, press B to take half his money, press C to earthquake his base, and then, chat all spams what they want, and it tallies them up, and then whatever gets the most votes happens. I think this would be so much fun, doing this with, like, Noxxi or Aralozen or Shypaj or something like that. Plus, I'm better than them at this, so it would be funny hearing them panic. Statistics. Apart from the major updates, we've also released 11 maintenance updates, stability updates, and hotfixes, bringing up the total number of releases to 14 in 2023 alone. Adding experimental branch releases increases this number to 30 for Steam alone. Adding other platforms to the mix, we have published 71 versions of the game altogether. This gives us an average of one game update every 5.14 days. We were busy. To maintain compatibility with saved games, each patch that we publish has to successfully complete not only a QA pass, but also a series of automated save tests. This year, our save samples package has gone from 135 to 163 tests to accommodate the new story campaign Into the Dark DLC. A full run takes 3 hours on average to complete. We ran the save test gauntlet 476 times this year, summing up to 1,400 hours or 60 days or 85,000 minutes of automated testing, give or take. You can watch all 9 Star Wars movies back-to-back 56 times in that time. 1,400 hours. Let's see, I've played almost 300 hours of the game on stream, so I got a sizable percentage of that number. The Riftbreaker repository revision number at the beginning of the year was 344431. At the time of writing this article, the number is 42130. I don't really think this information is going to affect the average viewer here. Let's see. We streamed the development version of the game on our Twitch channel 80 times this year. That was awesome. You watched for 5,600 minutes, sending over 36,000 chat messages, and most of them were stronger attack votes. Yeah, of all of the votes that chat can do, there's one called stronger attack. And it's really cool because it takes the names of people in chat and puts them above the monsters, and then the monsters attack, but it's way more monsters than was going to attack in the first place. And it is absolutely the top, like, of people that watch me play this a lot, they hone in on that option every time they see it. We published 72 news articles on Steam, ranging from simple patch notes to detailed breakdowns of the new rendering techniques. These articles amassed 20 million impressions. This gives an average of 278,000 views per article. That's over 5.5 times the capacity of the Polish National Stadium in Warsaw. Yeah, I mean, impressions. That's a little different than, like, views, but I get they're proud of their work. That's cool. Let's see. This year, we officially added integrated modding support of the game, implementing an in-game mod browser. Mods can be hosted on Steam Workshop and mod.io. Our users have published 481 mods to the game. To promote modding in our community, we ran a community modding contest with high-end PC gear on the line. Our champions received customized gaming PCs with Riftbreaker artwork printed on the case. Yeah, I actually looked at some of the mods because when I was looking for a challenge, I was like, I love this game, but I'm at the point where I'm beating it like on brutal with 500% more monsters because I've gotten quite decent at it. And so I was looking for mods that would like make it even more difficult. Like right now, the game we're playing right now, we've got gravity turned up to 500%. So when I throw a grenade, it barely goes like 5 feet in front of me, things like that. But yeah, the mods are really cool. I'm constantly keeping an eye out to see if any like really interesting ones show up. The main prizes of the modding contest went to Frogneck and Weiraman. Congrats once again. We released a substantial number of updates this year. However, the majority of our work has been focused on the co-op multiplayer. We've released 4 status report articles summarizing the issues we had to face. You can read them all here. We're still a long way from releasing the co-op version to you, but we have made a major step towards it. We started a closed multiplayer beta utilizing our accidentally developed PvP mode to diagnose issues with our net code. Thanks to the data we have already gathered during the beta, we have managed to clear many bottlenecks in network transfers. Each step forward brings us closer to the real deal, fully online co-op mode. We have over 300 testers now, but we still need more. You could sign up for the test here, and then I'll have a link to this article down below if anyone's interested in that. Yeah, I think I actually myself might be interested in that. What we wanted to improve, last year we drew a couple of conclusions from our work, based on your feedback and our own experience. In 2023, we decided to put the theory into practice. Let's see how that worked out. We told you that we started testing our networking by playing PvP and that it happened by complete accident. You understood that and accepted our reasoning. It goes to show how far you can go when you actually take the time to talk to your fans. This is really funny because I'm following them on Twitter. They were literally trying to make co-op and they messed up and accidentally invented PvP in the game. So now they have a PvP mode within the confines of their office. It's not public yet, but they're like, oh shoot, Jim, I just realized I can kill you. Hey, we made PvP. The first lesson was about communicating with players freely. I can't believe Muck hasn't signed up for the beta. Like, I was reading this article for the first time. Remember, we read like a few minutes of it earlier, and I was like, oh shoot, I want to do this properly. We like to think that we have done a decent job with that. This year, we have not introduced groundbreaking changes to existing mechanics, so we did not have to explain nerfs or buffs and our reasoning behind them. However, we did have a chance to apply the conclusions from this lesson by telling you about PvP. We stated it's used for testing only and won't replace the co-op mode ever. Your positive reactions to that news prove that being transparent on this topic was the correct approach. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people hyped for co-op. So this game is basically like really large-scale PvE, like Starship Troopers PvE. PvP, while that could be a cool additional feature, if they had announced that they were replacing co-op with it, the people that were already fans of this game, largely I don't think would have taken it well. They were really looking forward to the co-op PvE thing. The lessons we learned while developing Metal Terror allows us to manage our resources better in the case of Into the Dark. We like how this expansion turned out. So I don't even immediately know what they're referring to by this, but Metal Terror was their first expansion or DLC, and Into the Dark was their second one. That makes total sense. Like any company I've ever worked for, the first time they did a new release of something, they learned a lot, and then that made the workflow a lot easier on future projects. So I'm guessing this is the same. The second lesson was about giving ourselves the time we need to complete tasks. We've given ourselves more time with Into the Dark and released it in good shape. It took exactly as much time to develop as Metal Terror did, as the two expansions were very similar in scope. The third world expansion is going to be bigger, so we know we need to give ourselves a longer development window this time. I will say, as someone who I played Metal Terror on day one. I think I was sponsored to play that one. I played Into the Dark also on day one. I was not sponsored to play that one. I was just playing it because I wanted to. They were both bug-free. They were both working absolutely perfectly. I was very impressed, very impressed. One of the first drafts of the cave excavation mechanic versus the final product. What, this first one? I mean, they're using different tools. Here they're using the drill arm, and here they're using the pickaxe. So they honestly, they both look like these in the final product, except less dust cloud. Let's see. The third thing we learned last year was to show off our work ahead of time, even if it's not finished. We decided to take a much more open approach to development and reported on our progress every single week. You enjoyed previews and shared a lot of feedback, which positively affected the final result. We even started publishing daily unfiltered and unmodified changelogs from our development repository on Discord. You can expect us to continue previewing upcoming releases. It benefits all of us. They're not the first company I've seen to do that. Pirate Software, Thor, who is going from like 10,000 YouTube subscribers to 500,000 in the last month. He does game development and he just live streams it, and he gets feedback live like while he's doing it. Now, I will say that's probably distracting and slows down his workflow a lot, but also he gets feedback from his customers as he's doing stuff, which there's a lot of there's some cons there, but there's a lot of pros there as well. As for the fourth lesson, we applied its results immediately last year. We learned that players are much more likely to share their feedback when it doesn't require too much effort. But yes, I've worked in QA, and I've also just been a gamer for many decades. And if reporting a bug is very simple, I'm happy to do it. But if reporting a bug, even as someone who's been in QA and I know the importance of reporting bugs, if your bug reporting software is cumbersome, I'm sorry, I won't bother. And I think I speak for most gamers when I say that. Like, I won't bother if it's a pain to use the bug report software. Like, if I have to go through 20 windows, it's like, okay, sorry, no, I'm not doing it. So yeah, for that reason, we launched our suggestion board, which you can find here, blah, blah, blah. You continue putting up great ideas there, and we're thankful for that. All of our articles about co-op were smash hits, despite being difficult content-wise. The last lesson was the most important one. We learned that we shouldn't stop ourselves from sharing information on some topics, even if they might be difficult. This year, we wrote several large technical articles ranging from discussing the new rendering methods to discussing our progress on the co-op front. All of those articles have been met with your positive reception. It's been a gratifying process for all the people here involved in writing the articles. We'll keep delivering more in-depth news, with the first one scheduled to be released early next year. We think that by applying what we learned last year, we have managed to keep you informed, entertained, and engaged. Still, we know that even hundreds of news articles will never replace new content releases. Here's what's planned for 2024. This is the really exciting stuff. The first thing on the to-do list is World Expansion 3. It's a bigger expansion than the previous ones. As we stated earlier, we expect it to take a bit more time to develop, but it's going to change the Riftbreaker on many levels. The main component of this expansion is the brand new Swamp Biome. The swamp will pose an interesting challenge when it comes to base building, as the available terrain space is going to be limited by numerous puddles, ponds, lakes, and rivers. So right now, biomes in the game is tropical, which is standard. Acidic Plains, which has acid all over the place. Radioactive Desert, which has uranium all over the place, which is pros and cons. The Volcano Zone, which is just like lava everywhere, ash in the air, no solar, terrible wind. The Metal Valley, which was a DLC, and the Underground, which was the End of the Dark DLC. So this is adding a new one, which is Swamp. Interesting challenge. The available terrain is going to be limited by numerous puddles, ponds, lakes, and rivers. And we can see some new structures in this little video when he runs by the water. There's like some pumps or something, maybe like a new type of water pump is over there. It seems like it's acting like just a giga-sized water pump, because it's like pumping into the pipes, and the pipes are going to these things which are turning it into flammable gas. And then those are going into repositories, and then I would assume to a gas power plant. But those seem just like a bigger version of the liquid pump already in the game. Base building in swamps is going to pose a challenge because of the limited dry land. However, you'll be able to utilize a lot of liquids to generate power for outposts. Creatures inhabiting the biome have adapted to living in semi-aquatic conditions, and it won't be a problem for them to barge into your base across a lake. You'll have to place defenses in a much more strategic way. So that's new, is that right now, on the existing maps, the areas where there's like water or mud, creatures will not go over it. It's you can wade through it very slowly, but they will just like go up to the bank and then like shoot at you. They won't actually go into the water. The exception to that is on Metallic Valley, the dragonflies can fly over anything. So this is new. This is similar to like how the lava monsters come out of the lava in the volcano map. Creatures that can traverse liquids might be at a strategic disadvantage, but look at those water ripples. They're proud of their water ripples. Not only will the creatures try to get rid of you, but there are several types of carnivorous, mechivorous plants as well. Identifying them from a distance will be an important skill to master. We know the liquid surfaces in the Riftbreaker left a lot to be desired. With the introduction of such a liquid-rich biome, we gave our water shaders a revamp, giving all liquids a new and hopefully much better look. Introducing new elements into the already densely packed Riftbreaker tech tree is a challenge. Yeah, the tech tree. So the tech tree is a little different between survival and campaign mode. But just to show real quick, because we're in the game right now, there's 3 tech trees, and this is all 3 of them. This is mostly buildings, this is mostly weapons for your mech, and this is a combination of stuff. This is alien research. So there is a lot already in there. Let's see. Introducing new elements into the already densely packed Riftbreaker tech tree is a challenge. In order to facilitate the addition of new techs, we will redesign the current trees. Oh no! Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to learn again. Oh no. Keeping tabs on balance after adding several new weapons and enemy types once more would also be very difficult. Some weapons fell into obscurity by prohibitive costs or simply because they lacked effectiveness. We will introduce a major rebalance of most weapons to make all of them useful once more. Oh wow. Yeah, I can absolutely say that with all the time I put into this, there's some like the giant spear for the robot. I feel like this is mostly useless. The hammer is insanely good. The spear and the power fist have uses, but not nearly. Like the hammer, when it hits the ground, it makes a shockwave that hits a very large area, and it is very easy to just kill like 100 enemies with this thing. The spear just does damage in like a very narrow straight line, and it will pierce things, but it's nowhere near as good, so I almost never use it. So some of the weapons I absolutely do needs it, and you know, that was just one example out of dozens and dozens of weapons. While we don't have the images of the reworks mentioned above, we do have some new artwork prepared for World Expansion 3. Enjoy. And then we've got Mr. Riggs in the swamp right here, surrounded by bugs. Much, much more laying foundations for the campaign endgame rework update. The massive changes coming with World Expansion 3 lay the foundations for the endgame rework. You will get the ability to take part in more planetary missions after the end of the story campaign and set up new outposts. The reworked loot algorithm will keep you hunting for better loot and more resources. We will share more information about this as the update starts taking shape. Here's what we can tell you now. Galatea 37 will become a much more exciting place with new additions. You will find much more objects of interest and great power on the surface of the planet. Smaller loot caches will join the bio anomalies you already know. There will be common, but also filled with resources, mods, and unlockables. Power wells will grant you massive temporary buffs capable of turning the tide in battle. Let's see, the new loot caches are smaller and not protected as heavily, but will still surprise you with fountains of sweet loot. That's this thing right here. Okay, cool. And then we've got a wall of Cocoon Ultras is not a problem with the quad damage power well. Okay, so he interacts with this obelisk, and then his guns can shred through all of these guys for a timer. Gives you quad damage for 60 seconds. Work in progress, changes pending. I gotta say, I don't even think the game needs this. But okay. All right. Let's see, another great example. Loot Chance Boost Power Well, turning regular Canoptrix into loot pinatas. And there's just like different ores, metals, and items just exploding out of all the monsters. That's pretty wild. New elite creatures. Oh, here you go, chat. The boss variants of creatures you can meet in the wild were much stronger, but not very special. The elites we're cooking for you will have additional properties and attack capabilities, making them much more formidable and will test your combat skills to the maximum. Oh boy. I wonder if they're gonna add that to the sandbox stuff. Redesigned inventory screen. We heard your feedback about the inventory and your difficulties figuring out the properties of your weapons. With a new version, we will try to remedy these problems and make the navigation simpler and more intuitive. Interesting. So the way it works right now is like this. Like if I want to, like this is the weapon crafting screen. That's my money. This is how much it costs. This is what we're building. And if I go to my inventory, like here's a weapon and then here's some stats and then here's a different weapon, here's different stats and so on. So it looks like this is the screen that they're changing in some way. All right. Let's see. The new inventory screen will make it easier to directly compare the items you have equipped with those in your inventory. Reworked weapon mod system. The distinction we had between mods that enable certain properties, such as homing projectiles enabled, and those that improve them wasn't a hit. The new system removes the enable mods altogether. That gives you more clarity and more room for the OP mods in your best weapons. The mod list has also been redesigned, grouping mods that affect the same property together with each other. So that's pretty good. So like right now, if I go back to the game, here is like a high caliber rifle. This thing is like a sniper rifle. So that's it. And you can also charge it up to do more damage, but it uses more ammo when you do that. Now, if I click on this, if it's this quality, it can have one mod, and higher qualities can have more mods. But here, currently I've got homing enabled, which means that if I shoot at an enemy and the enemy moves, the bullet can slightly curve toward them to make a miss into a hit. Other options are flat damage, crit chance, dot, stun, less ammo consumption, stuff like that. So they're going to be removing, so you can see what the screen looks like now, and it looks like this is what it's going to look like now. So now you just click on a section that you like, and then you can find stuff in that section. So interesting. So that looks like a good quality of life thing, honestly. The mods list is now grouped by type, making it a lot easier to scroll through the list. This is not the end of improvements when it comes to the mod system, and much more. We'll keep you posted, but check our stream periodically to see glimpses of the new systems and rework of the old ones. Apart from the updates mentioned above, we're going to continue our work on the co-op multiplayer mode. Since we started our closed beta test on a very limited PvP build, we've received reports on the game's performance on various types of internet connections. We also ran tests with people situated all around the world. These tests, running on a lightweight build, revealed to us which areas of the networking code we needed to work on. Since then, we've managed to clear a couple of roadblocks, but our work is far from over. In 2024, we will continue distributing access keys to the multiplayer beta. As the netcode improves, we'll gradually increase the feature set of the beta until we reach the point where you'll be able to play a real survival mode session with each other over the web. That's still a long way to go, but we think that with the knowledge we have now, the reworked code base of the game and your support, we can do it. Every week, new people join the beta. We stream the gameplay to show the progress we're making regularly, and more status reports are coming. Let's get it done. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Mr. Riggs with the Santa hat, and that's a wrap. Wow, that's awesome. So, like, yeah, the recap stuff was pretty cool. They, as a company, they have been very communicative, and I really love that. And also, as a player, I'm really excited about the new swamp biome, the weapon rework. There's a chance of that some of the weapons that I'm currently using, like as my bread and butter all the time, being nerfed into the ground or in having to relearn stuff, but it's still exciting. I love when the tools you get are changed a bit. And in the past, they've done really good quality of life stuff when they change things. For example, the repair tool. The repair tool used to be single target. And then a lot of people gave feedback. It was like, this is a pain. Like, I have to repair 100 things. I have to click on them like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And they're like, okay, well now you could do this. You could just like mouse wheel out and repair like a massive area. But it'll be over time and no longer instant, so that you can't just keep, before you could just spam click repair a wall and it would keep shooting back to full health. Now it's just over a few seconds, so you can't abuse it in combat. But most of the stuff they've done has been hugely like well received. It's been good. The scanner, during some missions in the campaign, you've got the scanner and you have to scan things. A lot of people honestly just didn't like it. And so they replaced it with this thing called the Biome scanner. You can just throw it on the ground and then it does it for you. Like you can even throw it down in combat and it'll scan enemies while you're fighting them to get you more information on them. And then in the case of the campaign, when you scan enough of different plants, you can plant those plants and then farm them, and it becomes like infinite resources over time. Just show where it goes. Like right here, we're growing these crystals and then harvesting those drones right there. But yeah, that's it. That is the current news on the Riftbreaker. I absolutely love this game. I would say it's easily one of my top 3. Well, you know, I know what my top 3 are, and this is one of them. So yeah, definitely going to be spreading the word on any new information I get on this game going forward. And if you want to see any of this, I'll have a link to it down below. And if you, any of my normal audience that don't know Riftbreaker as well, if you're interested in it, if this looks like something you get into, if you got any questions for me, I would love to answer them. You can find me here live on stream every single night. Not always playing Riftbreaker every night, but I am live every single evening. If you wish to ask me questions, feel free to do so, and would love to see you there.